Hello, everyone. I'll give everyone a few moments to join us here, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn. But for those that don't know me, my name is Gillian, and I work with Sean Fargo and the team at Mindfulness Exercises. Um, I've been on maternity leave for a few months now, and I'm happy to be back leading these live meditations on this platform. These platforms, I should say, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And I'm also very happy to be connecting with a lot of you in Connect, which is our online mindfulness community where you can connect with in the discussion posts and also in live meditations with like-minded people around the world. So if you haven't joined us on Connect, the link is in the description, and it's a completely free community, and you can join us and we can chat mindfulness and practice mindfulness even further. So again, it's lovely to be back, and um, as always, I will lead a guided practice. Before we do that, though, I would love to know where in the world you're joining from. So please feel free to type in the comments section where you are in the world and what your name is. And after this meditation practice, which might be 15 minutes or so, give or take, you never know how long these things run. There will be time for people to ask questions, and I'll read reflections. So feel free to share anything that comes up for you in the comments or the chat section, and we'll get to it at the end of practice. And my name is Gillian again, and I am currently based in Sweden, which is why it's a little bit dark here. And I'm from Toronto, Canada, but I've lived here in Sweden for, I guess, almost 4 years now. So welcome, Connie in Florida. Azzy is in Texas. Melissa is in Denver. Cynthia is in Las Vegas. So far, everyone's commenting through LinkedIn, but we may have some people on YouTube and Facebook. Kevin is on LinkedIn as well. Hello. Jackie is in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Yasmin from Wales. Sonia, Dallas, Texas. Mibali, South Africa. Annie is in Quebec. Shweta from California. And I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing somebody's name correctly. Samantha is from Germany. Elizabeth in North Carolina. So yeah, it seems like we have quite a few different continents and countries represented so far as usual, which is always lovely in these meditations. Helene is with us. So I'm sure people will be joining in as we go. And again, you're welcome to stay for just the meditation. And if you want to share your reflections afterwards, I would love to hear them. Maura is in Atlanta, Georgia. Lara is in Lebanon. Christina in Manchester. So I'm sure some comments will still keep coming in. Again, it looks like mainly through LinkedIn. But the theme of this meditation is space to breathe. So we're not going to be doing too much, or you won't be guided to do too much, except to give yourself space and permission to just breathe. So I probably don't need to say much more than that. But as always with these meditations, please take what works for you. Modify the practice if you need to. So for instance, I typically invite us to have our eyes closed, but if you need to have your eyes open, gaze downwards tends to be helpful to limit distractions. If at any point you need to ground back into your felt sense of the physical body, whatever you need to do, please make the practice yours. So we'll get started in just a second. Louise is in England. Lena is from Israel. Molly, East Tennessee. Hoda in Sweden as well. Me too. I'm not sure if you were here at the beginning. And Christopher is from Hawaii. So let's just get right into it. Again, this might be about 15 minutes or so. And I understand if you have things to do and you can't stay for the whole time. But if you can, I invite you to give yourself permission to be here for the 15 minutes or so that we'll be practicing. So take a moment before we really get started to find a comfortable position that is conducive for your meditation practice today. So typically I recommend seated because that helps us to remain alert and we can also relax. But if you need to be lying down, if you wish to be standing, um, whatever position feels most accessible and right for your body and mind in this moment, please take that position. And lengthening your spine, you can let your shoulders and your arms relax. Your hands can rest in your lap or on your thighs. And I invite you to let your gaze fall towards the floor, or if it's comfortable for you, to close your eyes, to really turn inwards and tune out whatever might be happening in the world around you. Maybe let out a soft sigh as you settle in. Let's just start by making note of the felt sensation of being held by the surface beneath us. So maybe just scan the underside of your body, noticing all the parts of it that are in contact with the chair or floor or couch or bed beneath you. And while maintaining a long but relaxed spine, can you see if you can surrender into this physical space that holds you? Maybe relaxing the muscles around your eyes, your forehead, your jaw, your shoulders, your hands, your belly. Just softening with gravity, allowing yourself to be supported by this physical space. And letting this felt sensation of the earth beneath you, allowing it to anchor you into this present moment. Maybe just noting as we settle in with the words, I am here. I am here. Letting yourself just be here. And from your awareness of the surface beneath you, just gently guiding your attention to rise until it comes to rest in a part of the body where you can feel the breath passing through. A part of the body where you feel the breath and where the breath feels calm and grounding and gentle. So for some of us, that might be at the nostrils, feeling the breath enter and exit to your nose. For others, it might be the mouth or the throat or the chest area or your belly. Just letting your awareness rest wherever it feels nourishing or grounding, to witness the breath as it flows in and out of your body. And if none of these points of contact feel particularly grounding or soothing for you today, you might play with this and imagine the breath passing through your fingertips or flowing into and out of your feet. So, whatever works for you, just minding the breath as it flows in and out. Letting the breath be an anchor for your awareness if the mind or when the mind wanders into thoughts about past or future. Just seeing if you can give yourself permission and space to just breathe, to just breathe. There are countless minutes in a day that we dedicate to doing, to acting, to planning, to ruminating, to organizing, to talking. So, amidst all of those minutes, can you give yourself permission to just breathe for the next 5 or 10 minutes or so? Gifting yourself with this space, with this practice of simply breathing. You don't need to change the breath. It does not need to be any particular depth or count or rhythm. See if you can lean into the breath as it is, just leaning into its wisdom and its support. Simply resting in this space of breathing. And for your next few breaths, you might imagine or sense into the nourishment of each breath. So as you inhale, sensing nourishment filling your lungs and every cell of your being. Exhaling to soften. Inhaling nourishment. And exhaling to soften. And in this way, feeling each breath as if it cares for you. Sensing into its compassion for you. And before we close this practice and move into the rest of our day, I invite you to take 3 very intentional breaths. So letting the fullness of your awareness rest with each of your next 3 breaths. Savoring these breaths. Savoring the non-doing of breathing. And when you're ready, you can slowly let your awareness drop back down from the breath into the surface beneath your body. Grounding back into the physical space that holds you. Maybe taking a moment to extend a word of gratitude to yourself for giving yourself this space to simply breathe. And whenever you're ready, and slowly open your eyes to come back into this space. So you can take a moment to stretch out your body in any way you feel called to. And for those that wish to share, I would love to hear in the comments how that practice felt for you. If it was easy or difficult or somewhere in between, if there was anything that really resonated with you, um, or anything that you might take away from that practice. One thing that I often am reminded of when I do these types of breathing practices is just how accessible the breath is. Um, we don't really need a practice to simply breathe. We are always simply breathing amongst doing other things as well. Um, but with our awareness, we can always, always, always just come back and recognize that we're breathing, and give ourselves that time out, whether it's for 10 seconds, 10 minutes, somewhere between or somewhere longer. So Shay on LinkedIn says, quote, sensing the nourishment of each breath, so helpful. Wonderful. I'm glad you enjoyed that invitation. I think we can take the breath for granted and forget that it really is caring for us. It really is nourishing us all the time. Again, we spend so much of our days just operating without any awareness given to the breath. But for me, it's always so grounding when I sense into the breath as if it were like loving my body, which it is really, because it is required for us to survive and to thrive. So yeah, I'm glad that you resonated with that. Thank you for practicing joining, Shay. Jacqueline said, beautiful, gently met up with and released some resistance, much needed. Wonderful. Yeah, I don't know about any of you, but when I do this type of practice, I tend to notice my belly is contracted, like I'm holding something in. And just bringing awareness to the breath makes me aware of that tension and helps me to release that tension, that tightness, that resistance. And I'm sure that resistance can show up in many different ways, whether in the mind or the body, and often both. So I'm glad that was supportive for you, Jacqueline. Molly, also on LinkedIn, says, thank you so much. I really needed this. Oh, that makes me so happy to hear that this was supportive for you. Since I've been away from work for a while, I haven't led these live meditations, and it's always so nice doing these practices and seeing your comments, and knowing that this can be of service. And it's lovely to share these practices in community. Our personal practices on our own are great, but it's lovely when we can share it with other people. So thank you, Molly, for joining and for sharing. Hello, Cherish. Nice to see you here on YouTube. Thank you very much, Gillian. Beautiful practice. I've been experiencing some pretty intense pain, and allowing myself these moments to be with the breath felt so healing. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm so glad that this was supportive for you, and um, but I'm also sorry to hear that you've been experiencing this intense pain. But having these types of tools, whether it's the breath or body scans or whatever it might be, and each one of us will connect with different things when we're experiencing pain. But having some type of tool to help to ground us, even of course it doesn't make the pain go away, but if it can shift our relationship to the pain or bring our attention to something else, if it can calm the nervous system, whatever mechanism it works through us to support us, is really, really beneficial. So I'm again very glad it was supportive for you, and um, hope to connect with you, Cherish, on a live call in the Connect community as well. Before I get to Christina's comment, since I mentioned the Connect community again, I mentioned it at the beginning, but it's um, our free online community to talk about mindfulness, to meditate together in a Zoom platform, so we can actually have more of a dialogue. Um, and the link to that community is in the description for this practice. Christina said, love this space and opportunity to be present. Notice my resistance to stillness due to current situation. Still was able to focus sometimes. Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Christina. Yeah, I think, so many of us can resonate with that. I mean, all of us at one point or another, this resistance to stillness. We are so conditioned to doing, and whether that doing is active physical doing in the outer world or inner doing in our minds, planning, ruminating, controlling, by trying to figure things out. We all have this resistance to just being present. And I really love that you shared, still was able to focus sometimes. I think that's so key. So often I think people can judge their practice that they're not present enough or quote unquote still enough. But um, our practice is constantly moving and evolving and changing from day to day, and just showing up for it and noticing the movement, noticing that resistance to stillness is the practice. Um, so often we think that to meditate, we need to be quiet inside or still or whatever it is. But it's really, mindfulness is just about recognizing what is here, whether it's chaos or the calm after the storm. And often there's a bit of both. So thank you for sharing that. And I'm glad that this space was supportive for you. So those are all of the comments coming in for now. Feel free to share another comment if you wish. But before we sign off, if there's nothing else coming in the chat, I will be here. I'll schedule another live in the same time, same place for next week, which will be March 21st, and that's the day after the first day of spring. I believe the first day of spring is March 20th this year. So my intention for next week is to have a mindfulness of spring practice, which will involve some intention setting for this new season. So those of us in the Northern Hemisphere will be moving into spring. But if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you can come and enjoy the practice for the intention setting aspect of it, because we all have different seasons going on inside of us all of the time, inner seasons, if you will. So if that resonates with you, then perhaps I'll see you here next week, same time, same place. And I guess that is it for tonight or today, wherever you are in the world. I hope you have a mindful rest of your day, and remember that you can always give yourself space to breathe. Again, even if it's just for 3 breaths or 10 breaths or a longer practice, the breath is always, always, always with you. So, thank you everyone for joining. It's lovely to be back and sharing these practices with you. And I will connect with you next week or at some other point, hopefully. So, take care. Thank you, Cherish. Be well.